I'd like to thank everyone for attending my clinic on Klay Thompson. We're going to take a deep dive into Klay's game on the offensive and defensive end to break down clips and give insight of what makes him one of the more dominating wing players in the game today. So sit back, relax, and let's have some fun. Let's go to work. I was taught early in my player development days, if you want to make a player stick out and make it, they first have to develop one skill that can get them in a game. And I think the problem that comes in development is we try to do a million things with players and not really having an idea or a plan to say, hey, look, instead of being okay at like 5 or 6 things, let's try to be really great at one thing and then build off of that. Well, that's what Klay Thompson is to me. Klay Thompson is one of the best shot makers in NBA history. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the game. And he builds his whole game based on that. The ability to make shots from anywhere on the floor, forcing defenders to come up and now opening up his drive game if he can't get a shot off. And now he can drive right, drive left, get to the basket, make a play for someone else. And it's just built off simplicity. So when we're sitting back and we're trying to, either as a coach trying to develop a plan for our players or a player trying to develop something for yourself, understand this. Don't work on 500 things that's not going to work in a game. Work on that one skill that gets you in a game and build around it. Klay's efficient, doesn't over dribble, knows his place, knows what he's good at, knows what he's not good at. He's very effective on both ends of the floor. Made the second team all NBA defense a couple years back and one of the better offensive players in the league. The guy's a winner because he has a place on the floor. He could dominate a game through one way, and he could build off of that. So let's break down the clips, and let's go to work. Just like our 2 previous videos, I want to sort of start with the catch, and the catch and shoot, and the catch and drive right, and the catch and drive left. The efficiency on his catch and shoot to get his shot off quickly, the efficiency that he has. We're not going to talk about his shot a lot as far as the technique. We're just going to talk about how he can get a shot off quickly off the 1-2 step and being ready and shot ready at all times. His shots very quick. He can get to his mid-range drive off of fakes or catch and goes. He's mostly consistent on the 1-2, but he does hop a little bit. But he's one of the more pure shooters the game has ever produced. So let's sit back. Let's break down his game on the perimeter as far as the catch and shoot and catch and drive, and let's get better. Let's go to work. We're going to first look into the footwork on Klay's shot on the catch and shoot, and then the catch and drive right and catch and drive left, just like we've done in previous videos. I want you to center in on the 1-2 catch and 1-2 step on the catch on the left right, how effortless it is, how he just catches and shoots the ball without any waste of time, waste of space, wasted motion. Always shot ready, brings it up to a shot, perfect release. And then we'll talk about the righty drive, as he doesn't matter 1 or 2 dribble drive, always tries to land on a 1-2, sometimes into a hop, but mostly in a 1-2 left-right, and then driving left, going to the right-left. All right, so let's go to work. Shot ready in the catch. 1-2. Gets the shot off nice and quick. Now on the angle on the other side of the floor, just look again as the 1-2. As he just catches the ball. Very little dip, but dip doesn't really matter if you want to dip or not. But just everything's in sync. His feet land at the same time. Everything's straight. Follow through, release. One of the best shooters in basketball. Here he's on the move a little bit, but still gets to that 1-2, left-right, leaning a little bit to his left, but able to get to that left-right on the catch. Shot. Now here's the last on the segment on the catch and shooting. Doesn't even bring it down. I mean, this is pretty cool to look at. You got a 1-2, doesn't bring it down, just keeps it. Look where he keeps it at right there. Doesn't bring it down lower than that. Shot quick. Now on the drive right, same thing. Doesn't matter if it's a 1 or 2 dribble drive. trying to end on a 1-2 or a in-sync hop where you're just getting right into your shot. No waste of time, no waste of space. Catches it, fake. Now, if you want to fake it or you just want to rip it through, it doesn't really matter. Keeping that left foot down. See, as that back foot stays down, right into the shot. I mean, at that level of basketball, it's tough because that defender's coming right at you. He catches it, splits his feet a little bit, and travels. But I'm not the judge and jury here. But right, left, right into the shot, squares up in the air. Here he'll go through a little bit of dribble kick and then respace. Dribble kick, respace, coming out. Again, ending on that left, right shot. Now on the left, it doesn't really matter. Again, if it's one dribble, two dribbles, trying to be in rhythm and being consistent every time you dribble right versus left, getting to that right-left is really important on the drive and just to be in rhythm. See, it's more of a hop, but again, on the catch, see, on the two dribble drive here, doesn't waste any time. Defender comes out and closes out. He just catches it, goes right into the shot, little fadeaway at the end. Remember, whatever you're teaching, whatever you're doing, being consistent with a plan on the catch and shoot and catch and drive, 1 or 2 dribble on the pull-up. Klay does it, on both. We did it with Kawhi last film, where they like to hop a little bit and 1-2, but trying to get a consistent system of what you're doing on the catch and shoot, catch and drive right versus catch and drive left, whatever it is. If it's a 1-2, it's a hop. If you're trying to get to a left-right or right-left, go in both directions, however you want to do it. But have a system for everything that you do. On Klay's straight line drive, it doesn't matter what move he makes, ending in a straight line drive on your drive to be able to get body to body, take contact from your defender are all important teaching points when you're trying to drive to the basket. If it's on a pick and roll, an ISO, just a catch and go, pin down, whatever, post up, whatever case it is that you're going to make a drive, make sure it's straight line, make sure you're not wasting any time or any space on any effort on this. And especially on switching, and you'll see on the film, anytime there's a switch, attack a big by going body to body right by him and be able to take the contact. But you should be able to drive by most bigs on the switch like they're not even there. Let's go to work and take a look at it. Just a simple catch. Defender sort of overcompensates, overcloses, and then he's able to go body to body right to the basket. Again, just a simple catch. A little dance before he catches it here, but straight line drive to the rim. Just think of it as a stopwatch going off when you catch the ball and then when you get to the basket. You got to try to get there as quickly as you can. All right, it's okay to set up a defender slow, but once you get into your drive, it has to be a quick movement. Here on the weak side, just drives middle. Doesn't waste any time, and able to finish at the basket. Here's what I'm talking about. Anytime you have a switch like Clint Capella is one of the better defending bigs in the league, but anytime you're a perimeter player that could put the ball on the floor in a little bit, you got to be able to drive by a big like they're not even there. Again, change speed. Being able to change speed's big on your straight line drives as he does right here. Uses that off arm to defend off, takes the contact, finishes with his left hand. Same, just quick move, doesn't mess around with it. Just got to be able to just get by your man, take the contact, and be able to finish at will. Same thing here. Capella on the switch. Drives by like he's not even there. Makes a couple of dribbles. And then a little crossover. And able to drive. Being able to drive by your man, especially on a switch, is a big part of being an effective wing player. You got to be able to catch and shoot and make shots consistently from the outside, but able to catch it and drive it, or just drive it in general, to be able to get to the basket and finish with a high percentage. With any good wing player, they can make shots, especially at the level in which Klay can. Coming off screens is a lifeblood for that player and for him. He's so good at being able to set his defender up, be able to be physical with them and continue to move and change speeds and make it tougher for them to try to guard him coming through those screens. And he's such a high-level shooter. He's shot ready coming off that screen, ready to catch and shoot and be able to shoot quickly and get a shot off. He could read the defense, not only how his defender that's guarding him is playing him, but also how to read the screener's man and how to not only make plays for himself, but make plays for other people. I think if you want to be good at teaching this or good at doing it, you have to be able to make reads. First of all, setting your defender up and be able to make reads for other players on the floor. But you have to have good spacing. You have to change speeds and make it tough for them to guard you. And you have to be able to just read the defense and make the play for either a great shot or a shot for somebody else. So let's break down the film and let's go to work. This is probably going to be the most extensive video that we do on Klay, just because the pin down and coming off screens are such a big part of his offense. I want you to focus in on how he gets open and sets his defender up, how he reads his own defender, but also the screener's man, how quickly he gets his shot off after he makes the read, and then we'll go into the passes that he makes for other teammates after we go to all his reads on the pin down offense. All right, so let's go to work and let's figure it out. Again, setting your man up slow, finishing him fast. So walking up, change speeds, bust off, inside foot, plant, catch and shoot. Here Klay gets on, off the wide pin down. Not a lot of space here. Usually that's set. Usually, he'd be in the corner. Most wings coming off that wide pin doesn't have a lot of space between the screener and coming off, but busts off, changes speeds, and then makes his play. Here against Dorian Finney-Smith, same thing. A little bit of a legal screen there, but busting off that screen as fast as he can get. Gets his inside foot, squares up, gets a shot. Again, it's all about the setup. Legal or illegal screen-wise on the move here. But being able to bust off that screen, being able to get low coming off, give him a good target with your hands, plant the feet, a little hop off this, gets a shot. So as you can see, as he comes off, his man gets around, shoots the gap, doesn't fight through, and whenever that happens, just flare out, not coming to the elbow because that's where he wants to. That's where the defender wants him to go, and then busting off. Just such good, just has great instincts how to get open. Here on the split action, they give him the flare. And again, just after the pass is made, walks his man and then busts off. Watch the change of speed and getting the shot off quickly from three. Now here's just a simple read. Screens being set on the flare. His man way overplays. Plays on this other end. Usually the defender's going to be closer to the basket. Here they want to top block so he doesn't come off that screen. Sets his man up, leans like he's coming off the screen, and then busts off that little flare screen. Livingston does a good job screening, getting a piece, and then getting a shot off quickly, getting your feet set and shooting the ball. Same thing on the flare and the split action. We've seen this before, but being able to, again, change speed, sets his man up. All right, screener gets a piece, and having a great screener and talking to your screeners about setting good screens and getting hits are a big part about getting open. Gets his feet set quickly, defender's coming at him, gets his shot off. Now, pin downs aren't just for catching and shooting. If your man's going to trail like this, see as his man's trailing, why would he catch and shoot if his man's trailing him? All right, if his man's trailing, he can now drive it. Now, if the screener's man, Bleeds here, sort of makes a stab at the ball. He has a play for his screener, rolling to the basket. He can make that play, but he decides to put the ball in front of him. Again, anytime there's a man trailing you, it's an automatic read. Just catch it, put it on the floor. All right, no weak side help here. Jackson should have been over. You know, as you can see, he should be here. But clear lane to the basket, finish. And busting off that screen. This is where having solid feet, we talked about in the last segment, catching and shooting off fakes and being able to drive right and left. Here he busts off that screen, catches it, doesn't like his look. Defender comes at him, you know, tries to take away his left and being able to close out to get the, you know, stop the shot. So all he does is put the ball on the floor, one dribble right, pull up, jump shot. So nice tight curl here, sets his man up. Now Koji gets sort of messed up on the screen here where he's not really connected. Bogut does a good job with that illegal screen. And then drives the ball, puts two on the ball, and then pulls up. Good aggressive play. I mean, Klay's one of the best coming off screens. You know, catch and shoot, catch and drive. Again, takes his man off the screen, catches it, puts it on the floor. A little step back. As he puts it on the floor, defender does a good job getting back in the play. All right? But just puts his leg into him, step back, going left, step back off the right foot, catch and shoot. So now let's talk about some passes he can make. Now, whenever you're coming off a screen, your man, you got to read how he plays. Is he fighting through the screen? Is he shooting the gap? But you have to look at how the defender, the person defending the screener is playing the screener. Usually, what they do is they sort of hedge to stop you from curling deep in the lane off the screen. So they want to fan you off into the elbow area. If they get disconnected and you're coming off the screen and they get disconnected, it's an automatic pass to the screener. And we'll take a look at a few of these plays here. So as he busts off, screener comes off. See how his man now gets disconnected? See this here, this space in between? Whenever you see that, whenever he comes off and there's that space, all right, and then you engage the screener's man, it's an automatic look to the screener for a shot. That's just sort of common knowledge. Anytime you see two on the ball coming off that screen, you automatically give it to the screener. And that screener has to be looking for the pass. He comes off, two on the ball, and then just makes the play automatically to the screener. Just working on reads. It's almost like coming off a pick and roll. You got to be able to read it. Off the pin, engages two, automatic play to the screener. And what that opens up, coming off the screen and engaging two, what it's going to force usually is this bottom man is going to have to make the rotation. When the bottom man makes that rotation, there's going to be two players spotted up on the weak side to either catch and shoot or cut to the basket. So as he catches right there, this defender up top has to make a decision between which two of these guys, which one of these two he's going to guard. So here they don't make the pass, but again, looking at the play one step ahead. Again, easy play, makes the play on the ball. It's going to bust off here. Now, sometimes it's not going to be that easy because they're going to drop. Here, Horford's dropped in the paint, so that play is not as easy. So now you're going to have to drive it to the basket a little bit, engage another defender, and make a play for somebody else. Great play. We talk about it all the time. The importance of moving off the ball. You can't do everything with the ball in your hands. I don't care how good of a player you are. You have to sort of take the pressure off your team and yourself by being able to create opportunities by being off the ball and playing off the ball. We'll talk about Klay's cutting and the importance of it. Obviously, he's a hot target for defenders to try to know where he is at all times. But I think it's important to know that I don't care who you are. Off the ball defenders always take their eyes off the player they're guarding. They're always looking at the ball to see where the ball's at, especially in like pick and roll coverages. This opens up opportunities for players to cut, but you have to time it up perfectly. You have to have your eyes not only on where the ball's at and what play you're running, but also when they take their eyes off of you, just cut to the rim. Just cut to the rim, because it's going to open up open cuts for offense for you, but also it's going to open up, that weak side defense has to rotate over to stop you, and it's going to open up a slew of things. But you have to understand that you have to pay attention to the player that's guarding you. And once they take their eyes off of you, it's got to be a cut to the rim. You have to have good spacing, space the floor out, but the cutting component, especially when that key is an open area, that paint, and be able to make cuts off of good spacing, it opens up great opportunities for your offense. Let's break down the film. Let's go to work. These cuts, I just want you to visualize how easy it is to get open cuts during a game, mostly because your defender that's guarding you off the ball is worried so much about where the ball is and what the ball's doing in their drive that they take their eyes off you constantly. And there are multiple times where an offensive player could be open by just paying attention to where the eyes of their defender is and if they're going to turn their head. Once they turn their head, it's an automatic read to cut to the basket. Let's take a look. Here, Lillard just turns his head, and it's an automatic cut. I mean, it's not that difficult. Once he turns his head there, and then all the way to the basket. I mean, it's just open season. See, Draymond already gives him the sort of the signal. Defender turns his head, and now sometimes they don't turn their head fully, so you have to sell it where you're going towards the ball and then back cut. Balance is going forward, then you're just going towards the basket. Again, they want to probably top lock this, dribble handoff. So yeah, you're taking that away, but just like Kobe and MJ says, they take something away, you got to go with it or not. So easy cut to the basket here, straight line right towards the rim, finish. I mean, that split action opens a lot of that up, where they're thinking that screen's coming, that screen from Curry's coming, but he's waiting for it. And now Kuzma sort of just turns already, and then easy cut to the basket. It's just setting them up slow, finishing them fast. See how he just sort of like walks a little bit towards the passer here? A little DHO, defenders sort of overplaying to that, and then back cut to the rim. So now on this, if a defender's really not stopping you from cutting to the basket, see how Rivers sort of drops below Thompson here, sort of opens up this angle for the cut, and just opens up that face cut right to the basket right there. So Curry sets that screen. McCollum sort of expecting it there. Tries to stop him from coming through. And then just makes the basket cut. If someone's top blocking your screen, automatic cut to the basket. You got to go with it or not. Here, Gordon sort of falls asleep on it. Anytime you see, as a call from me, if I'm coaching the guy, I always say, look, I don't care what the play is. They turn their head on you and take their eyes off you. You automatically cut to the rim. You got to be a weapon off the ball. When you have a player that is a big shooter and not great at taking people off the dribble in the sense that they could just blow by players, the ISO game becomes a little different. what Klay does to sort of maximize his ISO game in creating space is the defenders are so hyped up to guard him on his shooting. So what happens is a lot of times they play that shot and they close out long and they just lunge out to him. He uses that bad balance from that defender against them to be able to open up opportunities. He's good on the dribble. He can drive you. He likes to just sort of drive you into a pull-up jump shots, step backs, using fakes, before or after drives to open up offense. So I want you to see the efficiency that he has to be able to create good shots, uses jabs, fakes, and step backs, but use them effectively, not over dribbling. Doesn't have to over dribble because of the fact that he can make shots from everywhere on the floor because he was taught well at a young age how to make shots, and he just knows how to create opportunities for good shots. He cares about possessions, and he wants to take good shots. So let's break down the film. Let's go to work. Klay isn't a flashy isolation player. What he does is he takes his shot making and he revolves his isolation game around his shot making. You know, when players got to obviously come out and close out to him a little bit more, he uses things like 2 dribble step backs, jab drives, jab jump shots to sort of get his shot off. He's not blazingly quick, doesn't do anything with like 27 dribbles. He's sort of a simpleton when it comes to isolation basketball, which most great players are. So watch as defenders have to overplay because of his shot making, and he sort of, puts them in a little bit of a confusion of how to guard him. And with his ability to make shots and put the ball on the floor, it's a lethal combination. We'll check the tape. Let's go to work. So here he's just going to open up and just quick drive to the middle. Little fadeaway jump shot. Here again, they have to play him up. I mean, even from there, he can make shots. So defender has to play up on him because he can make shots from there. So now with that extra space, he sort of takes advantage of it and now drives, takes that little 2 dribble step back going left off his right foot. So now Green's got to play up on him because of his ability to make shots. Again, if he can't shoot, now they could sit for him in the paint. Now Green has to play up on him. He just catches it, rips him through. All right, gets under him, 2 dribble step back going right off his left foot. And that you're going to get this way with people who can make shots like he can. They have to play up. Here he jabs and then drives to the basket. Straight line drive finish with the left. And using that jab, protecting the ball, jabbing. All right, fakes the right, goes left, finishes. Actually, I'm sorry, right hand on the left side. Using that cross step to a 2 dribble step back on baseline. See what that cross step does, and you could actually initiate pick and rolls on this side doing this. All right, he cross steps like he's going to go baseline. Again, that defender has to follow the moving foot and where the ball's at. As that foot moves to the right, to his right, to Klay's left, that defender has to react to it. What he does is he gets that defender going down to the baseline, rips that right back to a jab going middle, and then goes back to the baseline for that 2 dribble step back. Again, just trying to set that defender up and getting him move multiple times out of his stance. Cross step to that little jab middle, and then 2 dribble step back going baseline. Great move. Here he uses a little bit more dribbles than he usually does. Again, Matthews has to respect it because his ability to make shots. All right, Matthews takes one thing away. He goes to the crossover. All right, changes direction, that little step back going left. Here, just sort of on the post, the mid post, opens up. Paul comes back, enough space, jump shot. So again, after the drive, being able to not just doesn't sit there, sort of spaces out, spaces his man out, comes back off. Now forces a switch. Now he just attacks. That little one-legged fadeaway. It's a tough move, but and a switch. You got to attack the defender. All right, as he goes to the basket, that defender is going to go back. All right, Favors goes back. Actually, it may not be Favors, but anyways, goes back. All right, now because of the drive, defender, Big's going back. All his balance is back. He just uses his left leg, and just uses that little fadeaway jump shot. With pick and roll basketball being such a big part of our game today at all levels, every position on the perimeter needs to be able to handle the ball and be able to play pick and roll basketball. With Klay's game, his ability to handle the ball and his ability as a strong ball handler and being able to make shots make it a little bit easier for his pick and roll game, because everyone's playing up for a shot. He can now open it up with drives to the basket with their balance being towards him because of the fact that they're looking for jump shot, which if he does a good job opening up and be able to set up his defender, getting into that screen, could really open up opportunities to get easy offense. Because of his ability to make shots with deep range, the screener could set their screens way deeper past the three-point line, which forces that big that you can't play back and drop on him because of the fact that he can make threes. Now with that big being up, he could drive by the big if he wants, if he does a good job setting his defender up on the pick and roll. But it just opens up all these opportunities for him because of the fact that he can make shots, he can handle the ball, and he's a smart player. So we're going to look at not only his pick and roll offense for himself, but how he opens up the floor to get his teammates some shots. So let's look at the film. Let's go to work. Remember, everything that makes Klay so tough to guard is his ability to make shots. So everything has to be, on a defensive standpoint, has to be started further back. As an offensive player, he could probably make shots consistently from 29, 30 feet. So now, whatever he does, especially on pick and rolls, if you start the pick and rolls, the screen and rolls deeper away from the three-point line, it opens up more space for him to get his shot off. All he needs is a little space to get his shot and a little time. So using the screen, setting his man up becomes big for him because right as he comes off that screen, he could be ready to shoot anywhere on the floor. So watch how he sets his defender up, how the defense sort of rotates to him. We'll go over his offensive package as well as his passing package on the pick and rolls. Let's go to work. So here, the screen's being set on the drag. All right, you got DeAndre Jordan back here. So on his drive back, there's really no one to rotate over. Dennis Smith has to rotate all the way back to him, all the way over to him, and that's just too much space. Again, as he's turning the corner on that screen and roll, there's just all this space right here where it's just easy for him to get a shot off. So on the pick and roll, Gasol plays up, but his ability to put the ball on the floor and change speeds allows him to turn the corner on Gasol and pull up from that mid-range jump shot. Again, it's all about setting your man up and making great plays and just making good reads. All right, his man trails his play right here. He gets to get in the paint and go to the basket. He's got a good finishing package. Just making the right read on pick and roll is key on this. So now you got Doncic who steps up on the step up here. All right, now you got Doncic has to step up, just makes a change direction, straight line drive, layup, no weak side help. They do a good enough job trying to, Booker gets screened, Ayton's up, but now has enough time to get a shot off behind the screen and pull out Ayton even further. So that ability to make shots past the three-point line is just key to his ability to score from anywhere. Screen comes up, uses that little step back, jump shot. Step up. You got to get up on him. I mean, especially, I'd rather force him to try to split me and get to the rim rather than give him space to shoot this. See on the step up here, there's just all this space right here. It's just too much space to be given a shooter to his level of shooter just to give him this open shot. Now let's take a look at his passes. So anytime you get two on the ball in any situation, we're talking about pick and rolls here, all right, do a good job, having to veer his man off. Now Towns is going to guard. So now all you're waiting for is that roller to get behind the X5 here. So Towns has to get on the ball and stop the ball. All right, Cousins just cuts to the basket and able to give him the little pass going to the basket on the roll. This is hockey assist, but anytime there's two on the ball, Denver gets two on the ball early and just give them get pocket pass for an early roll, and then another pass coming from the weak side. On this play, anytime you're coming off a pick and roll, what you're looking for is the roller here to come and roll. All right, you got Cook right here. His man's going to have to bump and then come back. As he bumps, Cook is just going to rotate up. Two on the ball here. And again, Jordan's going to come, and now they're going to put two here on the ball. And just open. All he has to do is string the defense out, another dribble, and then just having Green open for the jump shot up top. It's tough rotation for Jordan or any big to make. So on his drive, all right, on the pick and roll, he engages, changes speeds on his drive, which is great, and then rotates off the corner here, opening up corner shooter. Whenever you have a big guard that you're working with, two guard, you're going to have to at least put some type of a post game in with him. With Klay being 6'6", like 220, 225, I think it would be sort of detrimental to his game if he didn't develop a post-up game. He's not crazy with his post-ups. He likes to face up. He backs you down if you're not as strong. He could back you down. He could use fadeaways. He's very crafty with creating his shot. He could use step backs. Same basic game that he uses when he's probably on the perimeter. But I think it's important just to develop a little bit of a post game with your bigger guys, especially with the wing, with the twos and threes. Just watch his game. He slows it down. He changes speeds, gets good shots. He's always in control on the post. Let's sit back. Let's have some fun. Let's break this thing down. Let's go to work. Being 6'6", 220, anytime you have a chance to throw him in the post, especially in transition or as a switch where a point guard or a smaller player has to get on him. I mean, he's big with trying to bury you in the post, back you down. He's good on back downs, step backs in the post, drives in the post, fadeaways. Like I said, he's not a Kobe type athlete. He's a more of a burly, strong, just uses his strength and his size to his advantage, and just really smart. So let's go to work. Let's break it down. Here he just takes advantage of having a size differential, just backs down, mouse in the house, easy lay-in. All right, gets in the post, face up jump shot. And he just takes advantage of having that height advantage, being able to face up, give him a little space, jump shot. Real simple, basic. He's got a very basic post up package. Now he goes to the back down, jump shot over the left shoulder. He can go with a hook if he wants to, or a spin back, but he's very basic, very to the point, very much to the point in the post. Back down again, little step back, little Jerry Stackhouse special, being able to just get his man. Again, if you see it on film that he beats you with the back down layup, back down hook, or back down jump shot, you think that second bump's going to be going towards the basket. He bumps him once. All right, that second bump now is a little step back in the post. All right, Rasheed Wallace used to do that in the post all the time. Right away, gets to it, back down, and just using that jump shot over, little jump shot over the left shoulder. Just using that strength, using that size, using that weight to his advantage. Now on this, just like we watched in the previous films on other players, backing him up the lane. So he has this space right here available for the fadeaway. If he's going to go straight to the rim, to the basket and just trying to back him down straight, that space that he has for the fadeaway is a lot less. Now that he takes him up, gets to that fadeaway over the right shoulder. A little face-up step back in the post. And keeps that ball protected on his left hip, like we talked about in previous tapes. Just bang, right there, step back. Now is a little complicated in the post here, but hey, if you can teach it, use it. A little spin back. Anytime you can get a defender, especially on a drive like this, which isn't just a back down, it's like a full speed drive. That defender, Herder's gonna, Red Rocket's gonna sort of commit, and then he just goes spin back for the jump shot. Obviously, we live in a world of, offense in basketball. Very few players sort of take the challenge on of being a dominating defender, a very high-level defender, as well as being a really good offensive player. It's hard enough just to get one. Now you have some opportunities to get two. I mean, we covered Kobe and we covered Kawhi, and Klay's one time not in that level defensively yet, but in one time second team all defense is nothing to shake a hat at for sure. Klay's another just fundamental defensive player. Big on getting in a stance, active hands to try to get his hands in passing lanes and get strips and get deflections. Very good at moving his feet and keeping players in front, especially in high-level games. He's very, very fun to watch on that end. Good vision off the ball. We're going to cover on switching when big guys, especially Kevin Love. I think Kevin Love was the only guy who did it. But when Kevin Love, he's had a switch on to Kevin Love of how he fought position-wise to keep Kevin out of the paint in his post positioning. Because of his big, he's big, he's strong, he's able to hold guys off. I mean, he's a very high-level defender. In playoff basketball, he's been super to watch. And I want you to watch, again, how he stays in his stance, how he keeps players in front, and just how he's just a very good fundamental defender. Let's get to the film and let's go to work. Klay made the all-defensive team, second team back in 18-19. What makes him such a good defender, in my opinion, is just he's a fundamentally sound defender. Moves his feet well. He's got size. He's got good instincts. He can keep you in front, but he has multiple efforts that he makes on possessions, and he's got great desire when he's trying to shut somebody down. Like any other really good defender and a solid defender, it's not about making steals or blocks or taking charges every possession. It's not about hitting home runs. It's about being solid. It's about keeping your man in front, staying on the ground, and contesting shots. And let's break them down. Let's go to work. I mean, this possession really speaks for itself. I don't know if you're going to get a better one this whole film, but I mean, just take a look at what he does on every on the whole possession here. I mean, he probably guards 9 different people, including Steve Kerr probably. So watch. Comes off the dribble handoff. He chases him off. All right, pass is made. He makes the play back on Aldridge, and plays Aldridge's drive. Gets back up top to defend the shot on the perimeter. All right, and then comes back and makes another challenge, another contested shot on the possession. That's a hell of a possession right there. I'm talking about multiple efforts. Again, not making home runs, but just being a fundamentally sound defender. All right, so here we go on the weak side. Just solid defense on Green, nothing special. Just, again, staying down in the stance and force him into a tough shot. Again, hands are always in passing lanes, always making an effort, always get out to shooters. All right, he forces him baseline, makes a drive middle. Can somebody take my son, please? All right, so as he comes through, again, keeps his man in front. He's got George. All right, back on George. Drives. Off ball. And gets back in front. Makes a play on the ball. Not bad. But it's all about multiple efforts. So we talk about even on the defensive side, follows the moving foot. As Green opens up, he plays that middle, has to drive baseline, gets beat, that's fine, doesn't quit, and then challenges the next pass. It's got to be a next play mentality on any good defender. All right, now it's coming off pin downs and fighting through screens. So again, getting around, torquing his body and twisting his body, going through those screens and getting through. Doesn't die on screens. Fights through and tough and aggressive. And again, forces Lillard into a fadeaway jump shot. Contested. Here we go again. Gets around the screen. Again, makes a play on the ball. Sometimes it's not fundamental. Sometimes it's a little ugly. But it's all about getting back in the play and making a play on the ball to help your team. And challenging another shot, getting through. And like I said, some of these aren't fundamental, but it's just getting through and having the drive to make a play on the ball. Okay, here he fights through the flare by Favors. All right, gets to Hood, puts a hand up on the challenge. Challenges with his right hand because Hood's a lefty. Pretty smart move. Gets through the screen here, forces Hayward left. And active hands, stays down, stays in the stance, moves, gets that off arm. A little hold there. I don't know if that's a hold or what. Let me see. I don't know. I'm not a referee. Good. Moves his feet, stays down, gets a challenge at the end. I think there's about an 8 or 9% difference in a shooter if you challenge him versus not challenging. So teaching defense, I don't care what the result. Anytime there's a jump shot, stay on the ground and challenge a shot. Gets through the screen, forces Irving to his left, stays down. Irving gets to his right, but again, forces the change, and then forces a fadeaway jump shot. Good solid defense. Good, gets up on the ball, makes a play on the ball. Good, forces him, and those are the types of shots you want to force. I mean, if he makes it, good for him. But he forces him into that lefty drive, step back, stays with him, and then gets a hand up in his face. Contested shot. And you're going to get beat sometimes. Sometimes you're going to force him left, and he's going to get to the right. So I mean, but about what makes Klay such a good defender is you could turn him, and then he'll get right back in the play and make a play on the ball. And that's all what it's about. I mean, if plan 1 goes in the shitter, then you go to plan 2 and plan 3. But stay in front, get back in the play, and make a play on the ball. That's solid. All right. Switches on LeBron, stays down, doesn't really lunge, and then just makes a play on the ball. Stay in your stance, stay low, keep your hands active. Any good perimeter defender, it's all the same. All these videos that we watch, it's the same formula of being a good defender. Stays down, hand up. That's it. Make a play, stay in front. Don't make any lunges. Don't leave your feet too many times. Again, Irving gets to his right, but forcing the twist and turn and force the fadeaway jump shot. It's all about trying to force him into as tougher shots as possible. All right, so he forces him left, gets to his right. He makes this. He sort of makes that change, stays down in the stance, hand in his passing lane. All right, that little fake spin, and then fadeaway jump shot. If he makes that, good luck to him. All right, good luck to him. But that's solid defense. You know, there's a theme here. Always trying to force Irving to his left, but Irving always gets to his right. But even if you get beat like this, don't quit on the play. I mean, and just get a hand in his face and try to force him into a contested shot. All right, again, force him to his left, gets to his right, and then just force him into a tough shot. And the big thing here is on the drive, trying to show your hands at the last minute. Now, look, I mean, that's definitely a hold right there. But anyways, getting a hand up and then force him into a tough challenge shot. Playing up, staying down, and then force him into a tough shot. All right, pick and roll defense. All right, again, first thing on pick and roll, I don't care if you're a wing, any position. If you're guarding the ball, all right, you push up on the ball and you take space away from the ball handler. Here he pushes him up again to his left so he doesn't get off that Tristan Thompson screen. Forces him baseline. All right, keeps him on his left hand. Contested shot at the end. If those are the shots that you're gonna make and you're gonna give up, give them up. It's not a big deal. Again on this, tries to get through, gets through, and it's not about quitting. If he beats you, get back in the play, and that's what it's all about. All right, no screen, stays up, good, challenge shot at the end. Those are shots you want to force your opponent into. And that's the big thing right there. We'll see how he pushes up to the ball. He doesn't want to get through the screen, so obviously they're icing it or they're bluing it, forcing him baseline, and that's it. Jump into the ball so he doesn't get to that middle. All right, so now he jumps up. Favor's got to change the angle of the screen. He gets through. They snake it, but he gets back on his hip, gets back in front. All right, bails him out a little bit, or leaving his feet. He'll miss at the end. This is the big thing here. Avoid the screen. All right, avoid the screen. Leonard tries to get the screen, can't. Gets back, gets back in McCollum. Gets on his hip. Stays down. Turns him again. And those little things like this, getting hand right there and getting that strip and knowing when to strip without fouling. He keeps fouling with that right arm, but maybe I don't know the rules. Good. Gets back in front after the screen, forces a fadeaway jump shot. And that's a tough contested shot. I don't care who you are. And that's what you want to force the people that you're guarding into. These tough contested fadeaway jump shots, they're tough shots to make, man, unless they're late game clock, late shot clock. Again, same thing. Jumps into the ball, obviously throughout the tape, wants Irving to go left, force him to his left hand, doesn't get back to his right, fadeaway jump shot. That could have been the same clip. I don't know. Who knows? Good. Up on the ball. Gets on his hip. Keeps him with the left hand. Challenge shot. Gets taken out. Now here's the post defense. And this is a big thing. Because usually you get punked by a switch and that big just takes you deep in the post. What he's great at is look at that bear hug to fight for position and gets him to post up right there. So instead of posting up on the block, he's posting up from like 14, 15 feet away from the basket. And then just challenges and then gets a hand on the ball. But this is where, forget about the missed shot in the block, the strip. This is where he did all his work right there. He gets around Love, gets to his back, bear hugs in the fight for position, and then forces him into that deep post up. Deep away from the basket, post up. As you can see, I don't edit these things well. Good, same thing. Get on the switch. This is where he does all his work. Switches. All right, the switch is made. Durant's going to carve the ball, but he gets behind Love and forces him that 15 to 17, 20-foot post up. And now this is tough for Love to really get into scoring. He's too strong, You can't really punk him, and then he forces him into a tough challenge shot. That's a hell of a defensive possession. All right, same thing. LeBron here, one of the strongest guys in the league, forces him into the fadeaway. He may not have forced him into the fadeaway, but I mean, if that's what you're giving up against LeBron James, good luck. I mean, that's a lot better than getting him 2 feet in the paint and having an easy post up. All right, gets here on the switch, tries to get behind, a little bear hug action, and then right there, that's where you want him to post up. Rather than get in the paint, you got to fight them off, and that's what he does a hell of a job with. Forces the fadeaway jump shot. Golden State comes up with it. That's a championship level play. Now Love gets a little deeper, but look where he catches it. All right, he got him deep here into the paint, but look as he pushes him out. Look where he catches the ball, right there. I mean, it's out of the paint. You gotta, on switching, you gotta be able to force that big that you switch on to out of the paint. Fadeaway jump shot. That's great. As usual, I'd like to thank everyone for attending the clinic today. These are great things to do. It's a great exercise to be able to study great players. It's to study any type of player. But I want to sort of get the idea behind this one today is how a simple player that has a simple skill could dominate the game by being simple. I don't like just having these slogans, and you know how I feel about that stuff. I'm not a big fan of it, but dominating simple, especially in the game of how complicated people try to play it, coach it, and teach it, that you can dominate the game by being simple. Klay Thompson is one of the more fun players in our game today to watch. There aren't a lot that you would pay to watch. He's definitely one, in the sense that he can make shots, he could take you off the dribble, he could stop you defensively, and he doesn't do anything flashy. He just does things that he can do, and he dominates the game by doing it. And when we're developing players, remember, one skill to get into a game, all right? One skill to get into a game. That's all you need to do, and then build off of that. And you got to be able to develop on both ends of the floor. Klay did a great job developing into a very good defensive player. Darren Erman was an assistant coach. He's now, as a head coach of the Maine Red Claws, did a great job developing his defensive skills. And I think that being able to develop as a defender, being a great offensive player, great shot maker, and then add to his offensive game has been great for him. So again, thank you for attending. I really appreciate it. We're going to hopefully have another one in a week or so. God bless. Hope everyone is doing well with what we're dealing with. And until we see each other next time, thank you. God bless.